So you find us here in Growing in Harmony today. It's lovely to be back with you. And we're here at our raised beds, which we've been busy making during this really strange time. But the garden still goes on because plants wait for no man or woman. So here we are, and this is our nursery bed that we've just built. The purpose of this being for us to put our brassica plants, our little seedlings in, and get them a bit bigger, and then we'll transplant them to their final position. And it's a really useful tool because it saves space, but also gives them that root structure that they need in a bigger bed rather than being in pots. And you can see here we've planted our peas. We've planted peas down the middle of the bed, and we're going to plant some French beans. We've got these climbing supports. This is the second year that we've used this now, and it's a method that we're really keen on with the paracord. We find it works really well. And this is just to keep the birds off. We have a bit of a peacock problem, and our hens as well like to jump in the nice soft soil. So this is what we use that for. So this is another of our raised beds, and we've also got some brassicas in here. And this year we're trying something new. We're growing something called shallots. And they're a mixture between kale and Brussels sprouts. So they grow on a Brussels sprout stem, but they're curly like kale, so frilly sprouts, which I think sound amazing. And they're looking really healthy. We started them off in pots. Now we've put them in to our bed here. The only thing with brassicas is they do require such a lot of space and such a lot of feed. So if you're in a small garden, it's quite difficult to get away with them. They're definitely one that requires space. So here we are at the garlic bed. You may remember in earlier videos we planted these, and we're really happy with the way these have come on. They're looking a bit yellow in part, so we're going to give them a good water and also a feed. They've had some homemade compost, but we're going to keep feeding them as well, because the lady I bought them from Saltburn Farmers Market recommended that you need to keep feeding them as the season goes on. But we're really pleased with the way they've come on, apart from the birds kept getting in and chewing them. So I think that's partly why they're a little bit stressed as well. And our shallots, which I planted with Olivia earlier in the year as well, these look really healthy. We have to keep them covered for the birds, but you can see they've got plenty of room. They're nice and green, and I'll give these a little feed as well, a little liquid feed. So we're really pleased with the way the herb spiral has established over the winter. I'm not sure if it's because it was quite mild, but the herbs have come really strong. We've got a couple of gaps which we're going to fill with some annuals, which may become perennial, but yeah, we're really pleased with the way it's come on. This celery leaf, which we're growing instead of celery, because we've never had much luck with celery, this has stood all winter, so we've had celery leaf for soup all across the winter. So I would definitely recommend to anyone in a small space that wants to grow celery, this is a really viable alternative. So here we are with our broad beans. This is one of the few vegetables that we've got actually growing in soil on our site. We're all in raised beds because the soil's so bad. Last year we planted potatoes, and in a standard crop rotation that's followed by legumes, which is beans and peas. And here we have broad beans. So they will add nitrogen to the soil once they've grown. We thought they weren't coming this year, and then when they eventually came we realised it was because we'd had no rain, and then when we actually potted it up we had about 5 weeks without rain. So it's a miracle they just sat in the soil and just waited for it to get wet enough. So these should be fine. They were a little bit late, but they're coming on a treat now. And again, the netting is to save them from the birds. And we'll just have to look out. We'll pinch the tops out to stop the black fly, which can happen just a little bit later on than now.